What if Jesus did not die on a cross, but came down and unleashed his vengeance on all non-believers? That is a question that the Inquisitor poses. Hello and welcome to the Critically Curious. I'm a monk, and today we're going to be doing a review for the Inquisitor. Now, this game has been published by Calypso Media and developed by Dust. Now, this game is a story-driven dark fantasy adventure. And it's a story that compels you to face difficult moral choices throughout your journey. Now, within this game, you have been sent into a little town in the 16th century. There's a series of mysteries for you to uncover, and of course, sinners for you to punish. And it's poised very much as an investigation game in which you run into a series of events which you have to collect little clues for and discover the true outcome, why it happened or who did it. Now, this game can be found on the PlayStation 4, 5, the Xbox and the Xbox Series, as well as on PC as well. And will set you back around £25 depending on which platform you're buying it on. Now, this really is a story-driven game. In fact, the game is based off a book series. And as such, this isn't necessarily an RPG in which your character levels up and you acquire new abilities. This is more of a slow burn where you go from A to B to C to D, collecting more information and unlocking more parts of the story. That's not to say that there is no development at all, far from it. As you begin playing this game, you'll realize that you, as the Inquisitor, have one or two extra perks. You have the ability to pray, and in doing so, you can uncover things around the area. In fact, most of the things that you'll find are highlighted as a massive gold icon or glowing gold, so you know exactly where to go and what to do. Sometimes you will have to find clues within a crime scene. Again, this is where you will be using that ability, or maybe you'll be following a scent, but you also have the ability to delve into an underworld where you'll get to find more secrets and more clues to the mystery as it unfolds. However, in that underworld, there is something hunting you, something that you have to try and avoid at all costs. That thing is called a merc, and it's kind of like an overseeing, all-powerful eye that follows you around. Now, there are also enemies for you to face in the underworld too. You can choose to completely ignore them, or of course, fight your way through. It's kind of up to you and your playstyle. But I kind of liked how this did add an extra layer to the game. Whether it was truly needed or not is another thing to be argued, but I did like the fact that there was that extra layer, an extra thing to kind of explore. The combat within the Inquisitor is pretty straightforward, really. You have heavy attacks, you have quick attacks, you have the ability to block, and of course to parry as well. Once you master these things, I never really found that the game was particularly difficult. In fact, I felt the combat was very, very easy. Now, the game isn't overly littered with combat, as like I said, this is mainly the story that you're here for. But the combat is present. It does an okay job. It's a little bit clunky, unfortunately, and as you get better at the combat, you'll find that there is really no problems whatsoever, no real difficulty to any combat within the game. But where this game excels is the story, is the cutscenes, the writing, the voice acting, all of which are done very, very well. Obviously, this is based on a book series, so you can see why the writing is so well, but I'm really impressed that this is a fully voice acted game. Every single cutscene, every single NPC that you encounter and interact with is fully voice acted, and for the most part, the voice actors have done an amazing job.
Laughed as he promised his vengeance would fall upon them. But he stayed true to his words. The earth they trod upon ran red with blood. The cities they resided in were engulfed by flames. Having witnessed their defeat, they hid amidst the faithful. They thought they would be.
Now, with all that being said, this game does fall short in several places. For a start, this is a game that is meant to be an investigation style of game where you take on the role, uncover these mysteries, search for clues, that kind of thing. But unfortunately, the game just always seems to hold you by the hand far too much. So all the investigation side, all of the clues you need to search out can be found simply by praying, simply by using the ability this game offers you to find what is highlighted throughout the game. I think if it hadn't have done that, it would have been a really interesting game, because this is surprisingly a huge city that you get to explore. In fact, it's probably too big for what you actually have to do within the game, because most of the time I'm spending a lot of it running back and forth from one side to the other. The city itself is very well done. It's gritty, it's dirty, it's detailed. There's lots to look at, but like I said, I feel like this game, or the map that it offers, is slightly too big for what it's trying to do, because there isn't anything else for you to really do throughout the game, because this is a single story driven game for you to explore. And as we said back with the combat is just far too easy. I found that with one or two good parries, the combat is essentially over, because you can just overwhelm all of your opponents, no matter how many are truly there. And when it comes to you having moral choices throughout the game, yes, there are lots of choices that you have from the very beginning. Almost in the first 3-4 minutes that you're playing this game, you are given choices on how you want your character to interact with the world, and you are led to believe that there are repercussions for whatever it is you choose. Unfortunately, after playing through at least the first few hours a few times, I never really saw the bigger picture. I never really saw too much change and too much outcome. And that's a little bit of a shame, because I love these games where you do have agency over the story. Now, I'm sure that there are big overarching things, but they're never really too obvious. So sometimes when you are going through a mission and perhaps you've got something wrong, you're trying to second guess yourself, wondering what exactly it was you've done. And other times you can play through several different encounters multiple different ways to receive the same outcome, and all of that is just a little bit disappointing. And then when it comes to performance, unfortunately, I have experienced a few major issues, bugs that have essentially crashed out the game completely, huge texture pack issues just not loading up, depending on which series Xbox I may be playing on. And at other times, because of course you're going through this game so consistently, using that prayer action, other times there are certain parts where it just seems to break, and the highlighted icon doesn't highlight. And of course, you playing this game, you've been learning to use that, learning to rely on it. So whether that is a game bug or maybe just an oversight, I'm honestly not too sure. The game's also full of quite dated minigames in which you have to press RT or Y in a certain time zone. It feels very dated and a little bit out of place for what the game is trying to do. And all of this ultimately is a little bit disappointing, because the story and the concept of this game is very, very good, but the gameplay itself is a little bit underwhelming. But for the price of the game and the size of the team that created it, along with a really good story, I'm going to give this game a 6.5 out of 10. There are definitely things that I have an issue with throughout this game, things that I hope get changed, tweaked, maybe, looked at in the future on future updates. But at the same time, this is a really interesting take on an alternative history, and I love that about games. And don't forget to comment Red Banana down below. Just confuse all those people new to the channel or that didn't watch to the very end. And if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you in the next video real soon. And until then, happy gaming.